Senator Babet has submitted a proposal under Standing Order 75 today. It's shown as item 12 on today's order of business. Is this consideration of the proposal supported? Thank you. Yes, it is. With the concurrence of the Senate, the clerks will set the clock in line with the informal arrangements made by whips, and I call Senator Babet.
Thank you, President. I move the motion. Okay, so I rise today to speak up for the millions of Australians who are struggling to make ends meet. So we've seen 13 consecutive interest rate rises, and the government continues to, in my opinion, shirk responsibility. They blame everything from the war in Ukraine to the COVID pandemic, while hard-working Australians are on struggle street. Now, just over 18 months for cost of servicing a median Victorian mortgage has increased by, guess how much? $18,000 a year. Now, how many families have a lazy 18 grand lying around just to keep a roof over their heads? That's nearly $350 every single week. It is no wonder that the lines at the food bank are unfortunately growing. Now, minimum loan repayments, they've increased from 30% approximately to a staggering 50%. That's 50% of the average Victorian wage. Half of their money, half, is being spent to pay off the mortgage. Absolutely massive. Now, the number of Victorian calls to the National Debt Helpline are up 40% just this year. Many hard-working Aussies face the prospect of losing their home or never reaching that great Aussie dream of home ownership. Taxes, the mortgage, rent, power bills, groceries, they're robbing Australians of their hard-earned wages. At a time when Australian workers are struggling, the Labor Party is now wanting to hit them while they are down. The Closing Loopholes IR bill proposes what is effectively wage theft. Hard-working Australian casual employees will be forced to become full-time or part-time employees, losing their flexibility and a generous 25% casual loading. Employers will face hefty fines for employing a casual in a way that does not fit this new definition. Now, the data shows that casual employees can earn around 6% more than full or part-time employees when all entitlements are taken into consideration. A 6% pay cut for many a casual employee is a bitter pill to swallow. If the Labor Party is successful with this bill, the financial loss on the average pay could be more than $5 grand a year. One can only assume that the Labor Party, backed by their union mates obviously, is determined to destroy casual employment and obviously help to undermine the small business sector. Now, when it comes to inflation drivers, there is a massive elephant in the room, and that elephant is Treasurer Jim Chalmers, the Labor Party, and obviously the big spending budgets. Now, mortgage holders are being unfairly punished for inflationary pressure that the government itself is contributing to, and it needs to stop. The flames of inflation are being fanned by higher levels of immigration and massive government spending on wasteful and unneeded infrastructure projects. People having to cut back on essentials and work a second job just to afford a roof over their head. Meanwhile, the government continues to spend like a drunken sailor. Last week, the International Monetary Fund warned that Australian mortgage holders will suffer even more pain if federal and state governments don't wind back their own reckless spending. The Snowy Hydro 2.0's budget has blown out sixfold to $12 billion at last count, and the government wants mum and dads with mortgages to pay for this mismanagement. If the government is serious about getting inflation under control, they need to tighten their belt, stop pumping hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayers' money into the economy. And if the government did cut some of their inflation-producing multi-billion-dollar projects, do you know what would happen? Tradesmen would suddenly become available to build houses. That's what would happen. It's almost like the government could make headway on two of the greatest challenges faced by our nation, inflation and the housing crisis. If the government did this, just make some hard decisions about their own behaviour. Now, Australians are unfortunately sick to the back teeth hearing Treasurer Jim Chalmers blame the previous government for his own economic woes. Now, obviously, we all call on the government, well, most of us here in this place would like to see the government urgently cancel or delay unnecessary projects so that inflation can be brought back under control and so that Australian householders can finally get some interest rate relief. Now, during the election campaign, they told us that it wouldn't be easy under Prime Minister Albanese. And in time, it seems like they have potentially been proven to be right. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Senator Bevex.
Yeah, that's my kind of party.